Hey, here we are at the Lone Star Sports Show right here on the Lone Star Sports Network in the heart of Oak Cliff, Texas. All things sports, all things Texas.
I'm feeling pissy today, man. I feel like going. I was ready for today, man. Let's go. We got new stuff to talk about. We got a bye week. Here it comes. TikTok. He's coming.
I have no idea. So we're gonna throw the disclaimer out right ahead. This station and staff and all invested parties have nothing to do with any opinion shared by Ticking Time Tom.
I'm an independent contractor. I 1099 for
all lawsuits directed straight to.
I ain't scared.
My partner in crime.
I am not scared, man.
But yeah, we're here at the Lone Star Sports Show. Today's show is brought to you by FastSmallSports.com. FastSmallSports.com is located in Chicago, Illinois. They're in the heart of Chicago on Michigan Avenue, doing what they do, leading basketball into the 21st century through the vehicle of technology. Well, I tell you, the whole analytics thing is just not slowing down. It's not slowing down, not one bit. I've been in roughly about 3 hours of meetings in the last 2 weeks, probably a little bit more than that. And the whole artificial intelligence thing that exists, and when they started talking about the cameras interpreting contested threes and uncontested threes, and right now, and I was with a company, I can't disclose the company. I was in a meeting with another company and found out they're waiting for the collective bargaining agreement to come into place. When the collective bargaining agreement comes in, the next time around in the NBA, they're doing a trial deal on the ACC with it this year, but they've already got this in all the NBA arenas that they will be tagged. And at the point that they become tagged, analytics go off the chart.
Well, can you imagine if you think there's value in video room, which I think there's tremendous value in the video. I watched it for 30 years. What's the value of putting a set of AI goggles on a kid and having them get a three-dimensional exposure to a pace of the game? There's no way you could ever redevelop that on a videotape. That's two-dimensional.
Without that defensive end or blitzing linebacker giving them a concussion at the same time.
Yeah, you can see.
Have you ever had one on before? No, they got them in football.
No, I never have.
It'll make you wet your pants now.
But the cool thing about it is, I was just talking to me and Ani were talking about quarterbacks tend to stay in the pocket. The ones who stay in the pocket tend to stay healthier. The ones who leave the pocket get hurt because they're getting crushed by linebackers on the sideline, right? Well, and the guy like say a Brady or a Breeze. I want
to let you in on the secret. There's there's a lot. I don't know how much truth there is to that. There are probably awesome numbers that go along with it.
Michael Vick got crushed outside the pocket.
Well, you get crushed outside the pocket.
Deshaun Watson get crushed outside the pocket. Aaron Rodgers gets crushed outside the pocket. Tom Brady never gets touched, never leaves the pocket. Breeze never leaves the pocket, never gets touched. No,
Tom Brady, you have to two things you have to realize. Some of the guys that stay in the pocket are great at getting the ball out of their hands.
That's my thing with the timing of it. That's all I was saying about that's the advantage of artificial intelligence, right?
But and I don't think that has anything to do with artificial intelligence and the analytics and being able to use devices like that.
But if you went to practice and you saw
these guys are trying to extend plays with their legs.
Right, I understand that, but they're going to shorten their careers by getting killed.
But that's who they are, and believe it or not, it's a weird thing. It's funny we even having this conversation in the last 2 minutes before we go to break. The strange thing about it is, Tom, is that what has happened, and I was with a high-level football coach. I'm kind of thinking, oh, man, it's just drawing a blank. Doesn't matter, the name. But was talking about the fact of how, I'll tell you exactly who it was. I was with Johnny Booty. Johnny Booty was the legendary coach. He had two sons. One started at LSU.
Josh Booty.
Yeah, Josh Booty, right. I was with his father. And he was talking. Obviously, he was a high-level quarterback. Got all these NFL guys around. He had one of the Philadelphia Eagles assistant to the assistant on his staff now with him. And they were talking about the fact that because of the speed of defensive ends and linebackers now, mainly outside linebackers, being pretty much a hybrid type guy.
Right.
This is what we used to call a freak called Lawrence Taylor.
Right. They're pretty common. Not per se.
They're
type of guy.
They're common with their gift and their abilities. They're not necessarily the instincts and the acumen and understanding. I wouldn't say I compare it to a Lawrence Taylor, but they run just as fast.
There's linebackers that run like safeties, is what you're saying, and there's defensive ends that run like linebackers, and that's a scary thought.
Yeah, well, they got defensive ends running like strong safeties.
Well, that's my reason though about leaving the pocket, because when there was a big hit that Dak took at the sideline. But Dak better be careful, because if they want him to be around, they better not get him out of that pocket too much.
Well, and that's a whole interesting. When we come back from the break, we're going to be talking some Dallas Cowboy football and where all that thing is going and what it looked like. We got to take a chance to take a real good, clean look at things this past weekend, and we had some interesting news to pop through today. One of the guys I was really, really high on. I think the Commissioner Cox is going to be coming in the next segment, too. So we'll be back in 180 seconds with more of the Lone Star Sports Show. This particular segment was brought to you by Hartem Hotels, HartemHotels.com. Go took your money where you sleep. Take a look at HartemHotels.com and see how that can be made possible. Lone Star Sports Show right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. Back in 180 seconds with more of the Lone Star Sports Show.
Hartem Hotels. Make money where you and millions of others spend money. Hartem Hotels Investment and Development Group's primary disciplines include hotel acquisitions, hotel development, hotel project management, as well as asset and partnership management. At Hartem Hotels, we invest in upscale focused service and extended stay hotel properties, mainly in Texas and other major urban markets. We are hotel owners, developers, investors, and asset managers persistent in our pursuit of successful ventures and passionate about our products. We provide nationally branded investment opportunities, including Hilton, Marriott, and Hyatt hotel franchises. Hartem Hotels strategically places the right product in the right location for the right customer. Get started with us today. Visit us online at www.hartemhotels.com. Hartem Hotels, put your money where you sleep.
Hey, here we are back here at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. Doing it like it does right here in the Cliff. Right now we got the commissioner of Oak Cliff, Texas, my main man, Cowboy Cox, controversial Cox.
What's going on,
Jimmy
man? What's
Cox.
going on?
Not a whole lot, man. Not a whole lot, man. It's been busy.
Big day in big week in Cowboy Land. Big week in Cowboy.
Big week in Cowboy Land. Big loss. Big acquisition. You know, at the break, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and chime this in. We have enough time to talk about it. The thought was brought up. The question was brought up by Tom that the quarterbacks that leave the pocket get hurt at a higher rate than quarterbacks that don't leave the pocket. And both of you guys agree, and that's a very rational deal. And I guess my 2 cents that I would throw in there, Cox is, and Tom is, and Ani's listening to, or maybe he's on social media, I don't know. But the point being is that the guys that leave the pocket and then try to lead with their head and lead with their shoulders and try to make plays because but the guys that run out of bounds and slide don't get hurt at the same rate.
And I agree with all that, but like when I think of, if I'm trying to envision being Dak, and he probably weighs what, 235? Is that right?
He's a big guy.
Okay,
I saw him at Steakhouse.
But he's not Ben Roethlisberger big. He's Dak big. And when he's running to the sideline and he sees someone like let's just say Vontez Perfect, Khalil Mack, Vontez Perfect. What's the big boy from?
Let me
about to get plowed, and you can't guesstimate their speed, and they put the hit on you. Sooner or later, you're going to get hurt.
Let me let you in on a secret. I want to remove the myth. Size has nothing to do with ability to take a lick.
Okay. And that's all the more reason for him not to leave, because he'll get hurt. It's just a matter of time.
The bigger a guy is, the more he's going to absorb. it's kind of like how hard can you hit a feather?
Not very hard because it'll move, right?
Though,
Yeah. How hard can you hit a horse?
These guys have to move because they have to win.
There you go.
Those
Now,
are winning plays.
decisions.
Okay,
Winning
but if they're
plays.
running,
we look at some of the plays where John Elway gets knocked around. Hey man, if you want to win, you're going to make some winning plays sometimes, and that's why you make the big bucks. You can't continue to be the highest paid guy on a team.
There you go.
But let's don't take those types.
I know where Tom is going. Tom is trying to put the rational. I mean, this has got
I'm
a
not trying
trade
to put rational.
stock.
I'm trying to say what happens when I don't think Dak's a great quarterback, but when Dak goes down, now you got to put in a quarterback whose name I don't even know. And I'm just saying, are you really willing to take that risk just to extend a play? I don't know.
No. You back up.
I think we got to look at. You're right, Coach. I mean, you don't want to. I mean, who is Cooper Rush? But who is Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
But
the whole thing is, and this is where I got to go with Cowboy Snoop on this, and I'll go ahead and give him his credits because he'll say I stole it from him by agreeing we came up with. The fact is that Dak hasn't gotten any money yet.
No, he hasn't. He's still playing real cheap.
Right. So you're playing cheap. You're trying
He's trying to impress everyone, but he better be.
It's
careful.
not impress. It's straight numbers. So this agent.
But if he gets hurt, then he gets no big contract. So he's stuck in a rock and a hard place.
Well, and the deal is that you got to gamble. If somebody put a gun in your head, here's the deal right here. If somebody puts a gun in your head and say, "I'm gonna take all the money in your pocket, or you can put it on that crap table."
May as well shoot the dice.
There you go. That's all you got.
Hey, there's a great story. Bill Russell told a story about back in the NBA 30 or 40 years ago, or maybe even longer, 50 or 60. But what he said was when there was 12 teams, there was only about 6 to 8 good centers. Now there's 32 teams, and there's still 6 to 8 good centers. And I think that's kind of the truth with quarterbacks. Like I think part of this baby and the quarterbacks thing is if you think football is a shitty product right now, wait until we get to the Cooper Rushes of the game and the Nathan Petermans, for Christ's sake. Are you kidding me? Then it becomes a really bad product.
I think Dak has been given more excuses than anybody I know.
They baby him.
He's waiting for his contract. He's not getting paid. Dak, you were never supposed to get a contract. You're a 4th-round pick. Dak Prescott was supposed to be a 4th-round pick, and we're lucky to get the salary that he has. Now all of a sudden he's half playing careful in order to get the major money. This is a 4th-round pick. Dak needs to prove that Dak's Dak.
And he's trying to do that.
But he has it for a year and a half. They should put a new ride at Six Flags called the Cowboys Season. Everyone would get nauseously sick. It's like a roller coaster. The highs are high, the lows are low, and every week's up and down.
Cowboys did not draft Zeke Elliott to play with Dak Prescott. They drafted Zeke Elliott to play with Tony Romo, Jason Witten, Dez Bryant, and that offensive line.
Well, that's right.
Dak Prescott goes out and has one season, and we go crazy. But the moment Dak Prescott becomes the true 4th-round pick last year, we start blaming it on all the receivers and what he doesn't have. And now this year, it's all the receivers. When do we just say Dak is not that good?
Well, he's a middle-of-the-road, mediocre quarterback. I totally agree with that. And the only way that you can win with that is that he becomes more experienced, and he has to have the right system in place to accommodate it. He does not have a gun for an arm.
I've never heard that before in my life. I've never heard top-tier coaches go out and try to put a top-tier system for mediocre players.
Well, I've
never heard that before. When Popovich loses Kawhi, he got to go get DeRozan. You don't go give him a 3rd-level player and he has to become Super Popovich.
All right, so, Commissioner, I don't think I need to ask you this question, but so I don't think that you think Amari's going to fix the problem.
I think Amari
improves
is the greatest move in the world for both teams. Amari Cooper is a great acquisition because we are not a destination location for free agency.
And elaborate on that because you and I talk about that all the time, and you and I know for personally.
People do not want to come to Dallas and play.
They don't want to come to Dallas and play. They don't want to come to Dallas and coach. They don't want to come to Dallas.
Sammy Watkins chose to be the 3rd receiver in Kansas City over being the number 1 guy in Dallas. So this is not a destination place. If we're going to get a good receiver, we have to go out and we have to turn around and draft him or trade for one. So it's a great move for the Cowboys because they understand that. Also a great move for the Raiders, a team that's going to have to really do some restructuring. The tragedy is that Carr is not throwing this kid the ball. It's slow releasing, wait till you wide open Dak Prescott, and this guy's just not going to be here after a year of this stuff.
You got a chance to get a real good look at what I've been telling y'all for 2 weeks about where he doesn't have a strong arm, so where he's releasing the ball on the break is late, and it gives the defense a chance to. It makes the receiver vulnerable. First of all,
well, and a lot of good defenders actually become the receivers on his late release. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, it becomes a jump ball.
Yeah, no, and it should never be a jump ball. You should always have the element of surprise.
Well,
I think the biggest thing he needs is Scott Linehan to give him some element of surprise. If you're not that good, don't make it be so predictable.
That's all it is. I was a mediocre guy, and that was the way I made my living off of the element of surprise. Using my brain to see, the one thing you got to understand about sports on offense and defense, if anytime defenses start to anticipate, the offense is losing. You got to keep the defense reacting. That's the only thing that gives you a piece of an edge on offense.
And you have to have a counter when they do overreact. You have to find ways to counter, make them pay for it.
Maybe, but this guy's not playing well. He hasn't played well for 2 years in a row, and every excuse in the world is there. And now we just gave away a number 1 pick to try to salvage this decision that we made to accommodate this guy. At some point, we're going to have to stop and say, you know what? We tripping.
He doesn't make Dak throw it any more accurately. That doesn't fix the accuracy issues.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, it does. It definitely doesn't do that. Just it gives someone that can stretch the field. We lost Cox. We'll be getting Commissioner Cox back here in just a second. He's moving around in some different places there. But what it does is, or the situation that you get in is that it is going to create more space. Offense is no different than basketball. I was having the same conversation. Space is important. Defensively, you're trying to close the space. Offensively, you're trying to expand the space.
Right.
And you got to understand that. And what happened is that when you don't have enough of a stretcher, or you don't have enough people, just like, okay, let's compare it to basketball. This ought to get you for sure. The more shooters you have, the more court you have to play with. Right. The less shooters you have, the more they can pack it in.
Right.
And say, make a shot.
Think about
that's what. Go ahead. That's what the Cowboys are dealing with, without anybody to spread them out, any speed threat. First of all, they've had 2 receivers that have been injured. The Austin kid was the first kid to go down. Remember him?
Mm-hmm. Miles Austin.
I believe it's Miles Austin. I think that's the correct name. But he was speed, deep threat. He's looking right quick. I don't think it's Miles Austin. It's not Miles. Last name is Austin. But that was a speed threat that you had, not a high-level speed threat. Now you just traded for a high level.
You're talking about Tavon Austin.
Tavon Austin, that's correct.
Yeah, Miles Austin, he played wide receiver years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what. Yeah.
Right, that's the old folks' disease.
Old guy memory. Old guy memory.
Old folks' disease kicking in on them a little bit.
Ouch, man, that hurts.
Yeah. But forgive him for the senior moment. The point is, it was Austin and the ability to stretch the field. It's all about space. Defense is trying to shrink the space. Offense is trying to expand the space, because you know what happens when you expand the space? Reaction times and closing distances become longer. And when you close the space down, the reaction time and to be able to recover from mistakes becomes a lot shorter.
Right. Well, we talked about, shrinking the floor on defense, which basically means, I want to make them operate on half the floor and then opening the floor up on offense, because you want to make sure that they have to guard the whole floor. And when you let people I used to, you have to get ball reversals.
Yeah.
You have to get ball reversals.
Well, you have to get ball reversals, and this comes back, and I was, like I said, I was in a 2.5-hour meeting with Coach Booty there, who's a legendary. I think it's the Evangeline football Evangel that was in Louisiana, right? That won all the games, and his son's a successful quarterback. Very few guys.
I recovered from my senior moment.
Yeah, you came back strong there. There you go, got it all corrected. And the only thing we need to hope for, both of us don't have a senior moment at the same time.
But we're 110 years old. Give us a break, man. We got almost no hair.
I gave up on that hair thing. But that's the whole thing. We're going to come back and do some projection-wise of where we feel like the Cowboys can go from here. Tonight we got North Crowley coach Tommy Brackle coming in tonight. I think in seek of his 600 win. It is an amazing piece that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Texas basketball, direction is going in. We'll come back and finish up on some more Cowboy stuff here, too. We'll be back in 180 seconds with more of the Lonestar Sports Show. This particular segment was brought to you by Fast fastmodelsports.com. The product for this particular segment is Playbank. Go take a look at Playbank. The season is starting right now. If you're looking for more one-hitters, baseline, inbound, sideline, inbounds, different ways to deal with situations, you got to constantly, and I think Coach would attest to this, you got to constantly update your artillery of players. You can't become a creature of habit when you're on offense. Same thing we're talking about with the Dallas Cowboys. Are they going to figure it out? Back in 180 seconds with more of the Lone Star Sports Show. You got Tom Inman, Lady Life, keeping us where we need to be. My man, the Prince, Aniu Money, and yours truly, Alan Branch. Hey, here we are back here at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. Lady Life, Aniu Money, the Prince, keeping us where we need to be on the other side of the camera, on the other side of the board. My main man, Tom Inman here, retiree, just living the life. And guess what? We got Cowboy Snoop in the house. Ranger Royce has come out of his grave and come back to the process and is comfortable and good with what is going on in his process. The Rangers got him all the way to the Cowboys. The Cowboys about to be a nightmare for him. They got you there. Cowboy Snoop. Baseball season over with. Playing the World Series now.
Wait, World Series tonight, Coach.
Yeah.
We got a local kid pitching, actually. Kershaw's opening up for L.A.
But
Kershaw.
Yeah, and we don't have any Texas team. I'm sure there's a Texas player there somewhere. We just didn't research it. Kershaw, there you go. Kershaw right there. All things sports, all things Texas. You know, before we get back on this Cowboys thing, do you know it's really hard to separate winning, no matter what the sport is, from having a Texas player involved somewhere? Stop and think about it a little bit.
It's hard to have a winning program without somebody being involved from Texas. What you're saying, right?
No doubt. Texas is one of the
most
best
fertile.
Yeah. When you're talking about athletes, man, I mean, it starts with youth sports. Youth sports in the state of Texas is just, it's just at an all-time high.
Yeah, I've had some guys from outside the state. I just can't believe, how y'all go at it down there. It's just amazing. But we're back around on this Cowboy thing, and it's Tuesday, and we come in.
Yeah, let's get on this Cowboy thing.
Looking thing, and we nobody really wants. Everybody wants to give Amari Cooper. Amari Brooks is a junior shooter. Average 11.79 points a game.
He's tap dancing, Snoop. That's 3 senior moments. He's
no.
Baby.
At the University of Houston, originally from Round Rock, Texas. I'm a basketball scout for a living.
Now he's a basketball guy. Now that he made a mistake, he would know to talk like he was Bill freaking Pullian about football, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about. There's not a program in the country that wouldn't take Amari Brooks right now. Because he flat out put the ball in the hole. That's the one I get paid to remember.
Amari Cooper's not here to say today. I want y'all to start listening. It's a show at the halftime of Monday Night Football. It's probably some kind of contract they signed where Tom Brady goes in at halftime and analyzes. Tom Brady on CBS Radio analyzes both quarterbacks on at halftime of Monday Night play. And so he talked about Tom Brady talked about 2 things that are underrated. I mean, that people underrate.
I'm all ears on this one.
They underrate the quarterback having the right system in place, that
fits his talent,
their skill set. And the second thing is weapons.
Yeah.
His weapons.
Well, and having a system that allows him to utilize his weapons.
Well, remember the first 2 weeks of the season, everyone was ready to give up on New England because they were playing with virtually nobody. Then all of a sudden you get Gronkowski back, Edelman back, you add Josh Gordon, and next thing you know, you're kicking people's asses.
Well, let me say this, and this is what I called in. I clicked in and heard you guys talking with Controversial Cox, and I know Controversial Cox is not going to be objective. He's not going to be objective about Dak Prescott, for personal reasons.
Oh yeah, we know that. We know that from the Cowboy party.
yeah. But look here. This is the thing with Dak.
He is being hard on Dak. You're right about that. Go ahead, Coach.
This is the thing. This is the thing about Dak Prescott, Coach, is that Dak Prescott. He had Dez Bryant and Jason Witten 2 years ago.
And don't leave the offensive line out. Go ahead. And he had
the whole offensive line. Okay, now Dez Bryant and Jason Witten didn't get no younger now.
That's right.
The second year they didn't get any younger. So I'm saying the people that are the MVPs to the Cowboys are those young, high-paid offensive linemen. And when you got all 3 of those combos there together, the Cowboys' offense has been great.
Yeah,
it's been great. When one of those guys have been out, the Cowboys have struggled a little bit to make the adjustment.
Hey, Snoop, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me do what I want to say about Tom Brady now. When Tom Brady, probably the best of all time, when Tom Brady played the Jacksonville Jaguars, why does he struggle?
Because they put pressure on him and make him throw off his back foot and speed up, would be my guess.
Well, that's one thing, but those guys, those receivers, they get up in their face and they can't get open.
Right. Well, that's what Belichick does on defense a lot. He holds.
I don't care how good of a quarterback. Look at how Aaron Rodgers looked when 2 of his starting receivers were out the other week against the not Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Against
It doesn't even matter. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the point, you're right. Go ahead, Coach.
Look how Aaron Rodgers struck. I know we talk about these guys, throw these guys open, and they do take a few more chances. And I told you a while back, Brent, Dak Prescott is not going to take those chances.
I just brought that point up.
One thing is because
there's only one point.
His head coaches told him just take care of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they told him take care of the football. They have not asked Dak Prescott to make plays. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean,
I just wonder why they can't throw play action off of Zeke Elliott. I just don't understand that. With that good of a runner and that good of a line, how can you not run play action and be successful?
Well, that's your best offensive player, and you should always have him involved.
It should all go through him.
You make him give an account for him, right?
Yeah, you watch teams like the Rams, and you watch how they use Todd Gurley as a decoy sometimes.
Yeah,
but teams come in to stop you, and everybody. You hear the media talk about teams play. They get up and put 8 or 9 people in the box on Dak Prescott because they don't feel like Dak Prescott can throw the ball, this, that, and that. But the reason they get up there is because they don't believe that those receivers can win one-on-one coverage. You know, Dak Prescott just got through surgery. I mean, now when the guys actually do beat the guy one-on-one and they wide open, that's wide open. Anybody wants to make that throw.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's that, I mean, it just still comes back to, you know, the longer I'm in the sports business, which is mainly football and basketball, and obviously I'm really into basketball, the more that both of them have the same principles and ideas. We talked about space, lack of space. We talked about predictability, whether the defense is reacting or they're anticipating. Anytime a defense starts to anticipate, the offense has problems. We talked about operating in space. All of these things are true in football or basketball. I got two high-level basketball coaches, one sitting next to me and the other one, both of them, y'all won multiple state championships. You know, you're a Division I coach. Y'all know that. So we come right back over to football. The same concept still exists. And this is the Snoop Johnson deal right here. Anytime you see a player that you have to give a certain amount of attention to.
That forces help.
It forces help.
When you force help, you got something going.
Yeah.
You got something going, Tom.
You got something going.
Hey, Snoop, I got a question for you. Off the topic, but on the Cowboys. What's your take on why they are so bad on the road and so good at home? Because I was listening to Romo, who I really kind of like as an announcer, but I thought he really babied him. He tried to say basically when you're on the road, you can't talk to a guy a foot away because the crowd's too loud. The crowd's loud at Texas Stadium.
That doesn't have anything to do with it.
It doesn't at all.
That's still making an excuse. This is what coach, I mean, you have to go back to 2016. You have to go back to 2016 with the Cowboys, with Jason Garrett, okay? Jason Garrett feels like he has a formula, you know. I think I talked to Brance about this a couple of days ago. You know, you hear coaches like Bill Belichick and Sean Payton and those guys, all those coaches had a cliche, next man up, okay? Jason Garrett, his definition, though, is with the next man being up. Jason Garrett goes with the next man up, but he don't feel like he has to change anything. You know, if you watch the Cowboys, they trying to run the same game plan on the road, the same recipe that they won with in 2016.
Coach,
but you know one of my favorite things about...
But that's what NFL stands for, not for long. You've constantly got to innovate, reinvent.
Because they're adjusting to you.
Yeah, they did the same thing, Coach. They did the same thing in 2016, Coach. On the road, the Cowboys wanted to establish the run on the road because they felt like it took the crowd out of the game, and they ate up that clock on the road. That was their recipe on the road. And then when they get home, when they're at the house, they take a few more chances.
Take shots.
Okay, but if you're 4-0 at home taking chances and 0-3 on the road being conservative, at what point in time do you start saying maybe this isn't the brightest freaking decision?
Well, okay.
But again, that goes back to what I just said about Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett.
He's a robot.
Well, let me. Go ahead, Coach.
Jason Garrett really believes. He really believes with these games. See what it would take for Jason Garrett to change his philosophy. For Jerry to go in and make him change his philosophy is if they went and got their ass thumped on the road. See, as long as Jason Garrett and them lost, we just lost on a field goal.
Right, you're right about that.
We are play away.
Well, that's vintage Jerry Jones. There, as long as he thinks he's close, he's gonna keep on doing what he's doing.
The only reason Jerry Jones pulled the trigger on Amari Cooper is because the Cowboys lost to the Redskins and went into this bye week.
I mean, from a personnel standpoint, you cannot argue with that trade. Be real. It's a terrific trade. I mean, but
Coach, they're gonna reap the reward for that, Coach.
Yeah,
hey, Snoop, go.
A 24-year-old lead receiver, upgraded with Gallo. Gallo is coming into his own over there.
Yeah.
He's an upgrade of Terrence Williams over there.
Yeah.
And then you still got Cole Beasley. Now you didn't get the tight end yet,
but your X, Y, and Z. Or your X, Y, and Z are pretty good.
Hey, Snoop, let me say something. I don't know if it's fair to compare Jason Garrett to Belichick of all people, but Jason Garrett. No, listen, hold on. I got a point.
Yeah, okay,
Jason Garrett is a career 500 coach because he thinks he has a formula. Well, your formula is 500. Bill Belichick will throw 15 times one game, and he'll throw 58 times the next game, but he doesn't base it on whether he's home or on the road. He bases it on the opponent. And Brady doesn't give a damn. If Brady throws the ball 11 times and they win, Brady don't give a shit. But he bases it based on the opponent, not on some idea that on the road I'm going to run it. That's just stupid. That's stupid.
We're about to run a break, and I'll say this in 30 seconds as we go to break here. One thing we have to realize is, as simple, and maybe it should be, but I'm going to say this, and it's not in defense, it's just reality. As simple as we want to make these decisions and these ideas and the concepts and what's going on, These guys are way, 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 way deeper than where we are. And they are not willing. I'm not saying they're right. But in today's NFL and today's NBA and sports, and I mean, right there is Snoop Johnson. I mean, Snoop Johnson will come back from a scrimmage and they plussing and minusing and going on all over the place.
Hey, Brent,
yeah.
I know you got 10 seconds, but I want to say this going into the play so everybody can think on this.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all think that Jason Garrett is calling around to his peers asking, what am I doing wrong?
No.
I know Bill Belichick does it. He said it on his show.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if Jason Garrett ain't got any peers, but go ahead. We're finna run the break.
Well, what I'm saying, I mean, do you think that that's happening? Do you think that, the best coaches, that's what they do?
That's what they do. They analyze and look at it.
Snoop, did you say Belichick does do that? He makes those calls?
Yeah, he makes those calls. He go call to
Belichick does it. He said Belichick said the thing to change.
Always do it. How many times you think Snoop Johnson has called me for a scouting report and what do you think about this and what do you think about that? I mean, doing all the years. I mean, guys, college guys do it. I mean, I don't deal with them in the NBA. I mean, but it's what good coaches do. But this analytics stuff is invited. And I'm in the middle of analytics, believe in it. But analytics is gone so deep into it, it does it. We'll be back in 180 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. We're trying to figure out what it is that's going on and trying to put the pieces together and make it all make sense right here at the Lone Star. Today's show is brought to you by FastSmallSports.com. This particular segment is brought to you by Fast Small Sports Playbank. Go take a look at Playbank right there at FastSmallSports.com and go see how you can improve your process as a coach. Don't end up like Jason Garrett. Go figure it out. Get you some options.
Hey, Snoop, let me ask you a question.
Cushionham Productions.
We're back here at the Lone Star Sports Show. Today's show is brought to you by FastSmallSports.com. Located right there in the Windy City. Go look and see how FastSmallSports.com is leading basketball into the 21st century. Ross Comerford, founder, CEO, putting it all together. Has some new products coming out all the way through the university process. But I'm back with Tom Inman, Alan Branch, Lady Life Money the Prince, and my main man, Cowboy Royce Snoop Johnson, assistant coach at the University of Texas, the Arlington, right here with the Gold Mavs right there in Tom Inman's backyard. They over there, the UT Mavericks. They might have some kind of secret handshake or something.
Hey, Snoop, I'm going to come interview you Thursday night. We're going live broadcast, baby. I'm going to come over to practice on Thursday night. I saw that thing on the campus still, 7 p.m., right?
Oh, yeah, 7 p.m. Meet the players.
Hey, for all those people out there, if you live close to UTA, you got to come out. People don't realize how nice of a facility they had. For years and years, they played in a half theater, half rec center. It was awful. It was just god
the
awful.
Stage is what
it was
talking about.
terrible. And that facility that you all got is awesome. So I want to encourage anyone watching the show, get out, watch the Mavs, come out, watch practice, come watch a high school game. But that's a beautiful facility.
Oh yeah, that's a great place. We put a punchline in for the Mavs. Y'all, you go back. You let them know we put a line in for y'all over there. Tell A.D. Baker we're trying to make it happen.
No. Tell Augie I want some socks. That's even better.
Inappropriate benefits. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Hey, I don't work anymore. I ain't cheating.
Yeah, no, I'm clearing myself. I do still work. Them jokers getting it. They need to start cutting them over retirement dudes check off when they cheat or do something.
Hey, I'm a free agent right now, Snoop. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. If y'all got something that need a whole lot of motor and a whole lot of energy and going crazy over there, somebody to ride the moped or keep the moped warm and the cycle warmed up over there, that's your man right there. But no, we were talking about some things about everybody's trying to guess and think and look. I mean, let's back up for a second. There's no way you're at the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, the most probably one of the most highly valued sports franchises, right there with the Yankees. I'm not sure who's in first in the world.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Don't think they don't have all of the best. I mean, you agree with me, Snoop Johnson? They have all of the best of technology, all of the best of everything. The point that we're getting at, and we're going and we keep comparing him to Belichick, and that's okay. But let's leave that. I mean, Belichick, he's a great coach. Okay, let's
compare him to Sean McVay.
Well, let's compare him to him. Let's compare.
Jason Garrett's got shoes older than Sean McVay, and McVay is awesome, and Garrett stinks.
That's that 7 miles in backwards in the snow walking to school stuff. We don't want to hear that.
Hey, Coach, I'm glad y'all brought up.
They're undefeated.
I'm glad y'all brought up Sean McVay. Okay, look at Sean McVay with Jared Goff, the number 1 pick in the draft 2 years ago with Dak and all those guys like that. And here's Jared Goff, and he's over there with Steve Fisher. Jeff Fisher,
former head coach of the Titans.
He's the number 1 pick. Then you look at old Trubisky, that's over there with the old defensive coordinator, used to be with the Giants and the Carolina Panthers head coach. Remember the guy that used to be over there with the Bears? You had you had Tressman, whatever his name was, Tressman. Okay, anyway, but you had Trubisky, a top 10 pick. I think he was the number 10 pick, number 8 pick, or something like that. You had Carson Wentz was the 2nd pick, and then you had Jared Goff the 1st pick, and then Dak was the 4th round pick. Now when they go back and they have the little thing on ESPN.com saying where would these guys be drafted if we had to draft now? And
the redraft, right?
They had Dak Prescott as a top 3 pick. Okay, now you look up, Trubisky got a new offensive coordinator. Look at how he looks right now. Jared Goff got an offensive coordinator. Look at how he looks right now. You add some pieces to Carson Wentz. Look at how Carson Wentz looks right now. But even Carson Wentz coming back right now, with a lineman out, the running game's not there. He's kind of looking like he did his rookie year.
But it's easier to replace Scott Linehan than it is to replace a bunch of players.
Our only point that y'all are making, and the real point, it's a legitimate point y'all are making. Don't let me blow you off on that one. It's a very legitimate point. Coaching can be a little underrated sometimes.
It's very underrated.
Yeah.
Hey, Snoop, let me ask you a question about basketball. You got 70 possessions. Would you agree that probably 65 of those possessions basically cancel each other out, and most tight games come down to about 5 possessions?
Yeah,
it's definitely gonna come.
Yeah, probably.
And in football, it's 2 possessions. In football, it's 2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's 1 or 2 plays, though. I mean, you really can. You hang one curveball in a baseball game. I mean, almost everything negates itself, other than the few big time plays.
But you never get to the big time play if you don't manage the game right and run things and do things right.
But if all you do is manage it till the end and make the mistake, then all you do is finish second place.
We over there with the DeSoto Eagles at the 8th grade football game over there. Is that what's going on tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm over
there. Give us a score report right there, straight out of Oak Cliff, Texas.
You got DeSoto West 13 and DeSoto McCowan 7 with 2 minutes and 13 seconds. This is the B team's game.
Okay, that's actually a hell of a rivalry for all the neighborhood folks.
Yeah, it's 13-7.
Hey, I venture to say in that game right there now, and you sitting there looking at it, in that game right there now, they're probably between both teams 6 no-brainer Division I players. How far am I off from that?
Stay out here, Coach.
Yeah,
especially on the 18.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just a whole deal. I mean, it's a fertile ground that we have. That's what makes all sports, all things sports, all things Texas makes it all make sense. is
Yeah.
that is
Hey,
it.
you know what's crazy about DeSoto, Snoop, is that there's not even 100,000 people in that town, and they put out that kind of talent.
Oh yeah.
What,
Yeah.
60 or
And
80,000
then-
people? That's all it
And
is.
this is something that we're going to be talking about at 7:15 when we bring potential 600 win Tommy Brackle onto the deal. Is this is what come down? I'll throw a little bit of this at Snoop. I hope it's not a sensitive topic, but and Snoop and I've had it, and you just kind of cut me off if you don't appreciate it, Snoop. But the whole thing is the parents are going to do. You a parent, right, Coach?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You or you and your wife going to do what's best for Jay and Kinsley.
That's right.
You're going to put them in the best possible situation you can. That's the answer to your question.
Right.
You got a great program, great facilities, great environment.
And I'm going to tell you, though, Coach, DeSoto and Lancaster, two of the best things that those school districts did is to stop worrying about this and that. They became an open school district.
Yeah, it's the whole deal.
GP's open. You may as well make it open because kids are going to go where they want anyway. I don't have any problem with parents ever dictating. I have a problem with third parties. My problem is third parties.
It's gonna be wild on the Lone Star Sports Show. And I'm probably gonna be outnumbered, Snoop Johnson, but you can just be rooting for me anyway and pray for me. I'm gonna have Tommy Brackle and Tom Emlin on here. Oh, UIL boys, we gonna get some real TABC stuff going on around here.
Yeah, but hold on, you couldn't be more. You probably couldn't put two people farther apart. Me and Brackle probably personality-wise are about 181 degrees apart. You'd agree with that, wouldn't you, Snoop?
Well, hey, Coach, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna be listening. Though.
Yeah,
I'll see you Thursday, Snoop.
Hey, good luck,
Okay.
man. Take care.
Right.
But it's the whole thing that comes down. We keep on trying to. Is it personnel? Is it coaching? And
It's all of it.
it's all of it.
Well, you know what it is? You talk about the proverbial onion. You know, you peel one layer back and you discover 3 more layers. Mm-hmm. It's not simple, and nothing operates in a vacuum. And that's why, as much as we're second guessing,
that's what drives the Cowboy fans absolutely nuts. Constantly trying to analyze things in a simplistic way. You can't analyze a complex problem with simple approach.
Well, and to be honest with you, most of the Cowboy fans, everyone says, are Texas football fans knowledgeable? And I said they're passionate. Mm-hmm. I don't say no. I just say they're passionate.
They're passionate.
Because there's a difference between knowledgeable and passionate. I'm a very knowledgeable football fan, but I'm not passionate about the Bears. When they suck, they suck.
But how knowledgeable are fans? I mean,
most of them aren't at all.
And then when you start defining knowledgeable, how do you even evaluate knowledgeable? Knowledgeable based on the fact they know when they won, who they lost, how many championships they got, who's the coach, who's the starter, how many yards he had. That's one level of knowledgeable, having a level of knowledgeability, we'll call it. But in the reality, in a grand scheme of preparing and scouting and personnel scouting and building a program, that it doesn't go very far.
But let me say from a coach's perspective, and I bet every coach out there would agree with this, that the most annoying thing is that somebody who has absolutely no qualifications whatsoever second guesses you, and their rationale and their criteria for saying they understand the game is, well, I played a little bit of ball back in the day. Well, I watch Law & Order every night, but that doesn't mean if I get arrested tonight, I'm going to try to represent myself. And I'm not going to go to the dentist and try to tell the dentist where to drill my teeth. I'm not going to tell the lawyer how to drop a legal brief. So what I really want to tell those people is to kiss my rear end and go get yourself a 6A job and we'll play each other. That's a David Milson line, by the way. Milson from Cedar Hill, whatever people would second guess him.
I remember David Milson. He passed away, right?
Yeah, he sure did. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, why don't you go get you a 6A job, and then after 8 or 10 years of being a JV coach, call me up. We'll schedule a game. Because everyone's an expert because of what? You stayed at a Holiday Inn Select last night?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break. I don't even want to hear it.
Holiday Inn, y'all owe us on that one. Actually,
yeah, sorry to the people in Houston. That wasn't meant to be a free plug. But seriously, everyone thinks they know basketball because they've got ESPN on their TV. Give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what the whole media drive sports enthusiasts. That's why sports is such a high deal, and that's all fine. But here on the Lone Star Sports Show, I would say that you and I are professionals. You're a retired professional, and I'm a professional.
Yeah.
And what I call professional is when you pay your bills based on the outcome of your performance.
Right.
Lady Life is the brains of the operation around here. Does that make you a professional? When you pay your bills based on the outcome of your deal, if you're able to make a living, that brings a level of professionalism, and it requires a certain amount of training and experience, and you have acumen.
That was my biggest beef with the officials, the basketball officials. I used to tell them, this is my mortgage and car payment. This is your beer and golf money. It's 2 different animals.
They still blow that whistle
and give me all kinds of crap, so it didn't matter.
Run Coach up out of here. We back.
Hey, I never got thrown out once. Never once.
We never got thrown out?
Never once.
God, no, we got to go unretire you and put you back in just so we can
that'd be kind of fun.
Throw you out.
Get
Lone Star
arrested.
Sports Show right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. This particular segment was brought to you by Harlem Hotels. Go take take a look at HardhamHotels.com and see how you can put your money where you sleep. When we come back from the break, Tom Inman and Alan Branch are going to analyze where basketball is in October. Where are you with your team? Where's the NBA team? What's going on? What's getting ready? What are high school and college teams going through? I'll share some of those things with some of my clients and where they are and what we can look for and get prepared in basketball. When we come back after that break, we're going to be coming on with Tommy Brackle, who's approaching the 600th win right there at North Crowley High School in Fort Worth, Texas. Alan Branch, Tom Inman, Lady Life, and the main man, the Prince, Honey, Money, doing it like it does. Right back in 180 seconds. Lone Star Sports Show right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. Giving to you like it is. You can tell I might be operating on a little less than 8 hours of sleep, but we're going to get it in anyway. All things sports, all things Texas right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. Tom Inman, Alan Branch, Lady Life, and my main man, Honey the Prince Money, man of many trades. Ran his first camp over in East Texas. I heard it was very successful. I got it from a reliable source. They did a good job over there representing.
So we're going to talk about high school basketball?
Yeah, we're talking about
All right,
basketball.
60 seconds, ticking time on the shot clock. Okay, here you go. Before we start
I'm sitting back.
There you go.
Well, disclaimer, I have nothing to do with this. So anything you say.
I'm saying this to every athletic director in Texas.
Go ahead.
To say that there's a double standard between football and basketball is the biggest understatement since somebody said that I was loud and talk fast, okay? And the deal is this. Everyone talks about we can't have a shot clock. So if we have a shot clock, we're going to have to pay a shot clock operator $32 a game. And if we have a shot clock, we're going to have to install 2 shot clocks in every gym. And all I ever say is, do you have a play clock in football? And everyone says, yeah. Well, then what's the problem?
That's absolutely right.
What's the problem? And at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're hurting our Texas kids because the only level of basketball they play with no clock is high school. College got a clock, pros got a clock.
They got a clock, Coach. They got an 8-minute clock every quarter.
Yeah, but frankly, the way high school kids play anymore, you probably wouldn't have a shot clock violation anyway. But the least you could do is put it in. And then the last thing I want to say is this. Everyone always says, oh, they're just going to put a shot clock in to ramp up offense. No, because this defensive strategy, and I'm a defensive coach, is
you force them into a bad shot.
If I don't think Unnie can shoot the ball, but I know Allen can, I'm going to double team off of Unnie to Allen, make the ball go back to you, late shot clock, and make you shoot. That's a great defensive strategy. You can't do it without a shot clock. Right. So for all you football coaches out there,
well, what it does is it hurts, and this is what they want to defend it on. We're going to have Tommy Brackle on here in a little bit, and that's one of the topics that we're going to be discussing in a little bit.
Well, Tommy's an AD. He's actually got the power to do it.
Well, he can't do it because the whole UIL has to do it, so he doesn't have the power.
Oh, no. I mean, as far as local, but he doesn't have a football coach trumpet him, and that is part of the problem. It really is. We're going
to ask him why the tip-off Cowtown Tip-Off Classic doesn't have a shot clock. And could he have a shot clock? Would he entertain the idea?
He could. I've heard that they were talking about letting us do things like as long as it wasn't a district game. Someone was telling me that there was I may be wrong, but they were going to entertain the idea of letting people like the games that we're going to broadcast.
TCAL right now is on the verge. 10 teams is on the verge of whether or not we're going to have a shot clock.
The games that we're going to broadcast. What's the fellow's name? Travis Haddock.
Right?
Yeah. Travis Haddock's
the Roto Classic.
Does he have a shot clock?
No.
But see, that might be a good time to put one in because you could put that in for those games.
Yeah,
and I bet every coach would agree.
First of all, you got to. I mean, I don't know if every coach would agree. You know how y'all are. We're gonna find that out. We're gonna be talking about that. Y'all call in.
Oh, that's a broad brush he just painted with.
Yeah, tweet that out. Let the listeners know that we're gonna talk about that shot clock. We're gonna argue shot clock. One of the many arguments of it. But my thing to it is, and we're gonna talk more about where we are in the basketball season right now. My main thing to it is. The deal is that, and it's not fair, because this is where if you listen to me on a regular basis, you could hang me really, really hard on this. I say what the Council on College Basketball is doing now to input rules that affect 100%, but you only got 0.3%, 0.5% or so of actual infractions of what they're doing. So they're hurting. You got 1,300 scholarships, so they're hurting 1,265 kids to try to protect from the cheating that goes on 25 kids.
And the hypocrisy of why they get rich doing that just makes you want to puke.
Right. Okay. And this is where okay, you got a whole Allen Branch still standard here. Then you flip back around and turn back on the other side of it, and then Allen Branch turns around and says that we should have a shot clock. And where the guys come back at me, the anti-shot clock people come back at me saying, I'm saying they're preparing kids for college. Well, we only got roughly 100 varsity players per year. We got 14,000 playing.
Yep.
So is it fair to put something in as a design? Now, here you go.
No, I can cover that easy. We can't predict who the kids are that are going to college. So what's the difference? Well, how does it hurt those people to play with the shot clock?
Exactly. That's my way out here. I'm going to deliver myself right there. I don't even need a defense attorney on this. The difference is in the situation is that what you're going to do to improve those guys' chances of being prepared when they play in the summertime a lot of time with shot clocks. Shot clocks are coming. There is an expense in operating. TCAL is trying to figure it out right now.
Right.
If we're going to buy 10 shot clocks, or if the shot clocks are going to move with different people, or how we're going to keep shot clocks at all the games. I'm the commissioner. That's one of the things I got to figure out how we're going to do it.
But there was that year back in 1984 or 86 or whatever it was when they did that really weird thing called that 3-point line that came from the ABA, and everyone thought it was going to be the death of basketball, and it didn't. It wasn't the death of basketball. It changed the game significantly. It changed it a lot, but I mean, a lot of things changed.
It hurt kids.
But hey, go back to that argument though that we shouldn't use a shot clock because only 0.3% are going to go to college, but you don't know which of those are the 0.3. And the other thing is, if you prepared all of them a little bit better, maybe it'd be 0.4, maybe it'd be 0.5, maybe there'd be a couple more.
That's a great point because I feel like in the whatever tenth we see, we have a chance. So how are we hurting? That's the difference. Well, that's where I defend myself. We're hurting the opportunities of 99% of the kids. Yeah. Based on the Council on College Basketball creating rules to protect those top less than 1% of cheaters, you're hurting the other 99%. But when we go over to the shot clock, are we? This is the question: Or are we hating the kids that are not going to be college players?
Well, what I was just getting ready to say is this. I would guarantee you
We'll ask Tommy Brackle
somewhere in the country, there is some coach out there who had a bad experience with a Texas kid who couldn't learn to manage the shot clock. And he said, man, I ain't going to recruit more Texas kids that can't play the shot clock. Just like, let me give another couple examples. I ain't recruiting Chicago kids that can't make the grades. I ain't recruiting Cali kids because they're soft. I'm not recruiting New York kids because it's crooked.
Anytime somebody has a bad experience,
no, I know,
we want to pray that. That's how we are as human beings.
But that's what happens. That's only my point is when they have that bad experience and they jump on that as the status quo instead of the outlier. You know, that's the always instead of the once in a while.
And that's the whole deal on it. I mean, we all look crazy now. Donald Trump is getting ready to put in his third Supreme Court justice. How many presidents?
Wait, hold on. Who just resigned?
I can't call the name, but we got someone that just resigned from the
in the last
Supreme
2 days.
Court. Yes, that is exactly right. So, how many presidents get a chance to put in three? Be responsible for the installation of 3 Supreme Court justices.
And how many presidents get to go to prison? Him and Nixon.
Yeah, Nixon didn't go to prison. We were little bitty fellows when that went on. We didn't know what was going on.
I was about 10 years old, man.
Well, I don't even think we were 10, Coach. But we didn't know. Well, we knew Watergate was going on. There was a secret. You didn't have to be a rocket science to figure that out in that media age. Watergate was a real deal. I always envisioned Watergate as being this place that was like a harbor, and there was some kind of a gate, and it was letting the ships in and out.
No, it was a crappy office building.
It was a big, huge office building.
But you know the moral of the story, though? The one thing that all of us learned, if you learn, the old line about history, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And this is where Trump's going to get burned, is so often in America, it's not the crime that gets you in trouble, it's the cover-up. If they would have just acknowledged, they covered up Watergate. That's what blew Nixon out of the water. And Trump wouldn't know the truth if it bit him on his nose. So, he doesn't even know what he said.
He knows the truth.
No, he doesn't. But he said 13 other things along with the truth. So at the end of the day,
he knows the truth. He knows that the truth is not going to accomplish his goals and agendas a lot of times.
He needs to scare white people.
Yeah,
watch out for all you brown people. That's what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing.
That's a level accurate. I definitely feel like even if I don't make it a full blown racial issue, I feel how do we get on this political angle here? But
because I'm a closet political junkie, and it's your fault.
Yeah, but I threw it out there. I threw the bone out there, and I'm jumping on it. But the thing that Trump does is it comes out in the form of racism, but he manipulates a group of minority people. A group of majority people in a place like the United States of America to a level of fear to make them join his solutions or sign off on his solutions.
If you make everyone feel besieged, everyone's doing you wrong, they're doing you wrong, but I'm your solution. And the problem is those brown people down in Mexico coming up here, and that's my point about all this.
Well, what is that one all about?
Oh, that's idiot. The whole caravan thing moving up.
Oh, man, that's crazy. Do people have already walked how many miles?
But you know what really bothers me the most is we're in a country of immigrants. Every one of our parents or relatives came from a different country because none of us are American Indians. So if you're not an American Indian, you're an immigrant. And what pisses me off is now that the immigrants don't look like we did. See, the problem with white immigrants was we all looked the same. And they even discriminated against my people. They used to put signs up in New York City that said, Irish need not apply. Uneducated drunk fools, we don't even want to talk to you. So, and then when the Irish finally found someone behind them that didn't look white, they had someone to kick around. That's crap.
Discrimination is as old as the face of the earth.
But they play on fear. They play on fear, not cohesiveness. And I hate that. I hate that because I love America, and I think most Americans are good. I wish they would stop playing the fear card.
That's the greed of it. But the segment we're supposed to be on.
Yeah, let's talk about sports. It's pissing me off.
Yeah. We're supposed to be in the situation where we're talking about it, but right now,
Trump's a jerk.
What are you, Tommy? You got 3 minutes. Tell me before we bring on Tommy Brackle. What are you thinking? October practice started today.
Let's say it starts tomorrow. Tomorrow's first day for the boys.
Not today?
No, Wednesdays. Girls started last week. I know that for a fact.
I know it's a week apart.
Yeah, just
it's always not every Tuesday. Tuesday's signing day.
Wednesday, right? So it's
what do you got? You only got 2 minutes now. What are you thinking right now going into your first practice? Everything that you've been through right now.
Well, you hope you've got your roster set. If you don't, you've got to make some quick decisions. You got to get in condition because you can't do anything out of shape. So you got to kind of sell the kids on the grind. And it's really hard because you'll go Wednesday, Thursday. It's a little easier than it used to be because you'll go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's four days. And then you have a Sunday off and you get a break. And then you go another week. Where we used to start on Monday, we'd have 6, 1 day off and 6. And it was really hard at the end of the second week. So you'll go 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then Saturday. Take Sunday off, then you'll practice 5 more days to get ready for the first scrimmage. So second week you're trying to
first scrimmage November 3rd.
Yeah, November 3rd, right? So you're trying to get base offensive stuff in, slobs and blobs, sideline inbounds, sidelines out of bounds, or baseline out of bounds, that type of thing.
Trying to make your team look coached.
Yeah, you just don't make them show up looking like complete idiots. And
what's the difference in you still got a minute something. You're doing really good with your time. What's the difference in your first year varsity guys and your returning varsity guys?
Speed of the game. No one what's happening because
and pretty much what are you doing to get the first year guys prepared for that?
Well, you hope you got enough returning veterans that you don't have to play those first year guys so that they can learn under the wings of someone else, and you try to get that big brother little brother.
So how do you? Okay, we got a top 25 kid. You finna hurt yourself in your recruiting process.
I was starting freshman. No, I started 4 freshmen that year that Jalen Posey and those guys were freshmen.
Right.
I don't give a damn about what people think. I never have.
Yeah. So when you get ready to do that, and you make that choice to do that, how do you get that kid prepared? He got to lead you.
Well, I just think you got to be straight with both parties. I think there's nothing is better than just being straight. Like I know Calipari and his recruiting process is notorious for telling a kid, I'm not going to make you any promises whatsoever. You're going to come here, you're going to earn everything. I'd be lying if I told you that I was going to do X and such. And I think it's weak coaching to try to tell people what they want to hear. You're going to get a chance. If you take advantage of your chance, good. If you don't whine to me. It's a tough world.
Championship coach Tom Emman giving it to you like it is right here at this breaking dawn of the 2018-2019 basketball season. We get ready. Everybody's practicing hard, getting ready for scrimmages. We talk about what's going on in college. We come back from the break. We're going to have Tommy Brackle out of North Crowley High School looking for a 600th win going into, I think, his 22nd season as a head coach. Back in 180 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show. Hey, here we are at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. All things sports, all things Texas. Today's show is brought to you by FastMallSports.com. This particular segment is brought to you by Playbank, a product of Fast Mall Sports. All you coaches out there, if you want to go and freshen up your process, go look at FastMallSports.com, and look at the product Playbank. It's absolutely free. You can broaden the horizon and increase your IQ. You want the players to get better. It's not going to hurt for coaches to get better. You got Tom Inman, Lady Life, Money on Money, and myself, and yours truly, Alan Branch. And today we got a special guest, Tommy Brackle, North Crowley High School, going into his 22nd, 23rd year as a head coach at UIL 5A, 6A level. Had a little bit of taste of both of them. Coach Brackle, give us a little rundown on your resume and career. We got plenty of things to talk about tonight, but let's make sure all our people know who they're talking to.
Well, Alan, I appreciate you guys having me, first of all. And second, don't make me any older than I have to be. It's my 21st year as a head basketball coach. Yep, I spent 4 years at Crowley High School as a sub-varsity coach there, 2 years as a freshman coach, 2 years as a JV coach, happened to be in the right place at the right time. Got the job at North Crowley when it opened, and 580 wins, 20 seasons later, here we sit.
So in 20 more seasons, this is the running joke in the studio tonight. If you coach 20 more seasons and win 30 games a season, you'll get 600. That'll put you right around about the 1,200. You're still going to be 133 short.
All right. So now the question is, if we're going to put you on the spot, Tommy, would you mind telling us how old you are?
I'm 48.
Okay, I was guessing 50, 51. Okay,
yeah,
so 48.
So
you got a chance. You'd only have to go until you're like 72 years old and you can barely walk. So what I was going to say is, as a guy who just retired, I'd strongly retire. I'd tell you to retire before you get to 1,200. I wouldn't do it for 20 more years, bro.
Well, I watched Coach Hughes do it, and man, there's not a whole lot of more people that I have more respect for than Robert Hughes. So, man, if I could even get in that conversation one day, that'd be saying something.
Well, you in there. I mean, you got to stop and look at it. 48 years old, we're sitting here talking about approaching 600 wins. You got 5 what now? I'm going to make a prediction.
580.
580. 20 wins this year. Coach, I believe you can coach up 15 of them boys to come on with the other 5. So we get you 600 this year, and then at 600, and then if you coach 20 more seasons, that puts us at
1,200. Then you still need 150, so that's going to put you at 7 more. So you need 27 years, 27 plus 48.
We're going to let you retire before you're 80.
You're going to be 75 years old if you can keep up this pace. And if you keep up that pace, you'll be dead at 65, bro.
Tom, I better start taking better care of myself, huh?
Yeah, man, it's a long road, brother.
I'm not counting you out, Coach. I'm
not either. I just don't know why you'd want to. I just don't know why you keep putting your head in the wood chipper.
The same reason, if you get a chance to take another job, you'll come out of retirement and coach some more.
Maybe.
In basketball, you guys are gym rats. You don't realize that you are. This guy is retired, and he goes to more practices and more scrimmages and more fall shootouts than he did when he was coaching.
Well, now I got time to do that crap. Are you kidding me? I told my wife one day, I said, it's funny. I never realized how much time I spent in gyms until I stopped spending so much time in gyms. And I say that with no regrets because there's not a thing I would change for all the years I coached. But for me, it was just a good time. So.
Yeah.
Seems like a perfect opportunity for a shameless plug here and tell you need to have your butt in North Crowley High School on November 9th and 10th. How's that sound?
That's a great time. That's where Alan Branch will be, right there.
I'll be there.
Right there at the Cowtown Tip-Off Classic. Not a better place to be. Was last year the first or second one?
Well, we've done it for about 4 or 5 years now, and we first started it off, and it was Crowley ISD against Fort Worth ISD, and then it just kind of evolved into this, what we've got now is this Cowtown tip-off. But, boy, the last couple of years, it has really, really exploded with just the number of teams that we've had come in, quality of teams that we've had come in.
Quality of teams.
Yeah, absolutely, and just kind of base it around, some of the top individual players in the state as well.
Yeah. And it's evolved. I think it's doing some great things. Got to get in touch with you about a piece with E-Play. I know the Roto-Rooter Classic is going to be using E-Play and stats and just bringing more to that process and what's going on. But no, tremendous event. I think one of the best matchups. And I watch players for a living, Tommy. So I mean, it's important for me to see good players playing against each other. If you won't get Alan Branch to your event. I remember last year I walked in 2 days in a row. I walked in at 8:15, 8:30 in the morning, gathered myself, and I didn't leave until Coach Brackle turned the lights off. You remember that last year, Coach?
I do. Yeah. I certainly do.
And that's the nature of how the Cowtown Tip-Off Classic right there at North Crowley High School that's the nature of it. And college coaches listen to this deal too. And I mean, I know you're busy coaching your team, but if you're watching prospects, you look at it. We're going to be doing some things on social media in support of the Cowtown Classic, Cowtown Tip-Off Classic. It'll be going on November the 9th right there at North Crowley High School. Is it November 9th and 10th or 8th and 9th? What is it?
I believe it's the 9th and 10th. It's Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. And we have a short day on Friday, but we come back on Saturday.
9 and 10.
And we get with it. And last year I would go out, and I got Ani who was always checking my senior moments. But I'll venture out to say last year in the state of Texas, the Cowtown Tip-Off Classic probably housed 25 players that were top 40 or top 50 or better in multiple classes at the Cowtown Tip-Off Classic, according to TexasBoysBasketball.com. Don't want to say where Mike Kunstad list falls on that, but it's not going to fall any more than 3 to 4% away from what I'm predicting if I'm anywhere close to being right. What do you guys think about that?
I'm excited to get over there and see it. I want to see it.
Yep,
yeah,
and we talked about just bringing up several things tonight, and one of them was the state rankings, and how you kind of come up with those as the way TABC does it. But man, you tie that back into the Cowtown Tip-Off, the 6A preseason state rankings. We got the number 1 team in Denton Guyer, number 2 team in South Garland, number 5 Duncanville, number 6 Rockwall, number 8 Waco Midway, number 9 North Crowley. We got J.J. Pierce at 12, Arlington Bowie 15, DeSoto 17, and Waxahachie 24, all in the 6A bracket alone. Then when you flip over to 5A, we got the 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, and 15. So it's going to be a lot of really, really good basketball played at North Crowley High School on those 2 dates.
And Coach, when you make those points like that, it's one thing to go hand in hand. And a lot of people don't like to. I don't know why they kind of talk about it from a negative context. But when you stop and look at what's going on, if you have those kind of players. If you have those kind of teams involved in your preseason ranking, and we're going to talk about that and elaborate a little bit more on that before we go to break here, that means that you automatically can justify the statement that I made because those teams are going to have 1 or 2 top 50 in the state of Texas type guys. You look at all the years that you've been good, and a couple of years you've been great. You've had ranked players, you've had collegiate prospects on your team. Is that both of you guys sitting here? Is there any accuracy in what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm really excited about is because, Tommy and I are always playing different places almost always. Occasionally you bump into each other, but that's what's going to be cool about this year is just getting out and seeing different games, going where I want to go instead of where somebody scheduled me to go. So it's going to be kind of interesting. So I'm going to be out there. And by the way, Tommy, I hear you run a hell of a hospitality room. That's what I hear.
Yeah, we do all right with that. Come on out. We'll take care of you.
I'll be there, baby. I'll look forward to it.
It's funny. I thought the basketball was really good, but I think I missed that. So I'm going to be looking around. So if you didn't know anything, you think we might have rigged that up to make that statement come across. But
I think you got to go over and talk to Plemons about his little connection at Spring Creek Barbecue because that Jeff always had that hook over there at that Arlington Classic, and that might be a pretty good one.
They've moved all that to the Mansfield Spring Creek Barbecue. is sponsoring the Mansfield tournament.
Yeah, Plemons used to give
a couple weeks later.
I used to play in that thing for just for the Spring Creek Barbecue. It was good basketball, but it was great barbecue.
That's why Honey and Money keeps on taking that assignment. He and Snoop Johnson, they never even let me go to the Mansfield deal.
No, because Spring Creek's good, man.
They said, no, Mr. Brent, you go over there. They were getting free barbecue the whole time.
You go over to Conrad High School over there in Dallas and get a bag of Cheetos or something. Right. I'm going to get over here and get that.
I don't even think I was getting in. I had to stop and grab something on the way and eat and drive at the same time. But you got the Cowtown Tip-Off Classic on November 8th and 9th, Friday and Saturday right there at North Crowley High School. We are fortunate and blessed tonight to have my man and friend and professional acquaintance, and we have developed a relationship that's a little bit beyond basketball. Tommy Bracco, one of the most respected guys, in pursuit of his 600 win, needs 20 more wins to do that. I'm counting and betting on he's going to be able to do it this year, and that will actually probably be one of his first. Would that be one of your first games in pursuit, official games in pursuit of that? Those 2 games that weekend, Coach?
Yeah, we'll be playing Fort Worth Dunbar on the 9th.
On the 9th, so that'll be your first official game then. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's the actual. Kind of the way we came up with Cowtown Tip-Off is it's the opening weekend that you can play, and we just thought what can't get much better than to get some of the best teams in the Metroplex, which are the best teams in the state, and some of the best individual players in the state as well, on that opening weekend.
Yeah. How much value would it be to have stats that would be sent out to college coaches at that event? Would that be something that you'd be willing to entertain?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I know one of the things, and we talked about, I heard you guys talking earlier about, shot clock stuff, but we'll be having the shot clock again this year. Last year was a
big controversy about that. I remember that now.
I like the controversy. Tommy, keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, that was the first year matter of fact, the first game ever, UIL
in the
game for the state of Texas was
that's
in
correct.
our gym.
There you go. Well,
and
exactly right.
I've been pushing for it personally for several years, and we finally got the UIL to grant us an opportunity to do it.
That was a last minute decision too, wasn't it? Mm.
Hey Tommy.
Yeah, well, we had to push for it quite a while,
right,
but we got it done.
Yeah, I thought that we went down to the wire with some controversy. Was it going to happen? Not going to happen? And actually, it was there. Well, we've got to go to break right here. We've got Tommy Bracco, head coach Tommy Bracco, in seek of his 600 wins right now at 580 wins in a 21-year head coaching career right there in Fort Worth, Texas, North Carolina. We're talking about the Tip-Off Classic, the Cowtown Tip-Off Classic that'll be going on November the 9th, 8th and 9th. Right there at North Crowley High School. You can go online, look at it, follow social media. We'll be talking about it, tweeting about it. They are in the process of probably having live stats. Could be one of the most innovative high school UIL events in the state of Texas because they're leading the way into the future. We got Tom Inman, Lady Life, Under Your Money, my main man, keeping us where we need to be when we be there, and yours truly, Alan Branch. We'll give you more North Crowley basketball and Cowtown tip-off and the great career of a Tommy Bracco in 180 seconds. There you go, Coach. We're on break now. Wherever we're on break, they had a real talk. We talk about a minute, 30 seconds. Hey, we are at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network, right here in the heart of Oak Cliff, Texas, heart of North Texas, giving it to you like it is. All things sports, all things Texas. Today's show is brought to you by FastSmallSports.com. This particular segment is brought to you by Hartem Hotels. Go take a look at HartemHotels.com. But we're glad to have our regular staff here, my main man, Tom Inman, Lady Life, Honey and Money, and myself. But our special guest tonight is Tommy Bracco, in pursuit of his 600th win, put him in a class to himself. I haven't done the research of how far that puts him in, but it has to put him in the top 5% of all active coaches in the state of Texas, whether it's private school or whatever you're coaching. I don't think there are many guys that are beyond.
Might be 5% in the country. 600 is a lot of games.
600 is a lot. Okay, yeah. I know. The interesting thing is that Coach Mike Marcus at Tyler Junior Colleges, who's been coaching almost twice as long as Coach Bracco, not quite twice as long, but 30 plus years, is in pursuit of his 700th win. I think it is at the collegiate level. So anytime you start getting around, you just do the math. A 20-win season is not a bad basketball season. So every 10 years of good quality coaching,
200 wins.
It's 200 wins.
Right.
So you go 20, go 400 wins. So Coach, you've been better than pretty good.
Better than pretty good. I don't even have 300 right now, and I'm already done. Are you kidding me?
There you go. Well, I mean, you just do the math. It's 20 a year.
Yeah, it's a lot. Now, it's just 26 point something. I just did the math. 580 divided by 21 is 26.
Yeah, we just, that's one thing about it, Coach Bracco. You got to realize we'll put the pencil and the calculator on you real fast over here.
I'm a numbers
guy.
There you go. I'm a numbers guy.
I'm a numbers guy too, but I tell you what, you gotta have some players, and you gotta have some kids and some great assistant coaches and everything else along the way too. And I've been in a very blessed situation and very lucky to have a lot of really, really good people around me.
Most wins you ever had in the season?
38 state championship year. We went 38-1 that year.
That was a part of.
See, I didn't even win 30 the year we won it.
Yeah.
I only won 29 that year. I never won 30 in my life.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You know, and it kind of ebbs and flows according to the UIL and how many games they let you play.
Yeah, I know people that tell me they played 45 games. I was like, what state did you play in? Because I can't play 45 games here in Texas. Wow,
they played. Away with it? It was crazy in 1981. We played 43 games, 40-3.
Hey, let me tell a real quick story. I was going to for the people out there. Tony Harper is the head coach at El Paso Mountainwood, and he had the best team he ever had was the year that we beat him. They were undefeated. He had a kid named Roman Martinez that went to New Mexico, right? So when I called Tony up one time, and he said, Tom, I really respect you, but I'm about to like a bad flashback. So then he was telling me the story about, he said, yeah, there's two Tommies that broke my heart. The other one's Bracco. What happened? He said that he was about 4 years after you guys beat those guys. Late in that game, Willie Warren hit a 3 at the buzzer, I understand, to send it to overtime. And one of my big strategies in basketball is I don't let you shoot the 3. Never. I'm gonna foul you. I'm gonna make you make the first, miss the second, get the rebound, make the bucket. It's a 14 parlay. There's no way you're probably gonna do it more than a couple of times.
How accurate is he, Coach Bracco, on that? Because he's always throwing this analytical stuff that he had going on his head that you know how he won.
It's pretty accurate, and you know a lot of coaches will kind of waver, back and forth, but. Boy, it's tough to not go ahead and foul that guy before he ever, of course, gets into his shooting motion and make him go to the line. And that's something most people don't practice, is missing free throws either. So there's an art to that as well.
We do both of them. We practice missing the free throws, but I would literally take two teams in a scrimmage and we'd say, all right, you got 10 possessions of fouling when the other team, when we're ahead 3. And of those 20 possessions, maybe one time it would happen. But at the end of the day, I'm a math guy, so here's the deal. Willie Warren probably shot, 50% from the three-point line that year?
That's a little high.
45, 42?
Yeah, he probably shot low 40s. But I guarantee he didn't shoot low 40s on a one-footed running 23-footer, because that's what it was. But I will tell you this, and you talk about the strategies between coaches and stuff like that. Tony and I we're really friends. We've played each other quite a bit in the playoffs, with us always going west. Got a ton of respect for Tony Harper, and he was going to foul us. And there was
the story
absolutely.
The kid said I was sorry. You told us to foul, and I just didn't do it.
And I mean that's the way he's always done it. And we were up, we were down 1 with the ball. They stole the ball, took it the other end of the floor, laid it up. And a lot of coaches right there will call a timeout. Tommy Bracco in the past would have called a timeout.
Right.
Willie Warren just kind of caught it on a banana curl going back the other way. And I kept the timeout in my pocket, and because I guarantee you that we called a timeout,
they set the
Tony
zone
would have
trap
fouled
up
us coming out.
Absolutely. Well, that's what he said about the kid. He said, Tom, I felt so bad. He said, this kid walks in, and it's been years, and he walks in. He said, Coach, I just wanted to say something. I said, what's that, son? And he said, he tears up, and he said, I just want to tell you I was sorry. And he said, sorry for what? He said, Coach, you told me to foul. Because go back to the numbers. Let's say that Willie's a 4-10 shooter. To miss the first free throw, make the second free throw, get the rebound, and make the basket, that's a 14 parlay. You know what that pays in Vegas? 25 to 1. So are you going to play 25 to 1 against 4 and 10? Unless you're mathematically challenged, you should foul every single time. I would never not foul. I don't care. Never, 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 never. Never not foul.
And I can't argue with anything. And one of the things that flashes through my head, Coach, you know how many huddles I've stood behind and how many huddles I've been a part of, and I've heard the notorious don't foul or do foul. What is it about players, and we're kind of off task here, but it's a good point. What is it about players that you can look guys in the eye and say, whatever you do, do not foul? I remember being at the Final Four with Coach Altman, and for God's sake, whatever we do, rebound and box out. They miss a box out for the
free throw miss,
yeah, on the deal. What do you think happens with players? I'll get that question to both of y'all. What happens on players that causes them to blank out like that? Is that something that you have to deal with in practice, and that moment is too big for them? What are your thoughts?
I think it's the fog of war, because like one of the things that we always practice was we would practice, like fouling. Like I just said, we'd take 10 possessions. And I had a kid, I hope Demarion Austin's watching this, because I love Demarion, but 3 different times in the same season, I told him to foul and he didn't. So here's a kid who would foul every one if I told him not to foul him. But then I call a timeout, and I look him right in the eye and say, Demarion, I need you to foul. All 5, I need you to foul, I need you to foul. And he didn't do it 3 different times. I just think they can just go, it's kind of vapor lock, like old engines.
I mean, and you don't. One thing that we don't do on this show, Coach Broccoli, is we don't always agree. I want to hear the Coach Broccoli. He got 600 wins or 580. So I want to hear. His 580
wins. Well, he must be 3 times as smart. Go ahead, Tommy.
I tell you what, Tom and I probably think a lot alike in a lot of areas, and I just think you prepare for everything you can possibly prepare for. I'm sitting here, and we've got our whole first practice scripted out for tomorrow. Well, we practice timeouts. Mm-hmm. We practice half times. Mm-hmm. We practice pretty much everything that you do throughout the course of a game. And so putting your program, putting your team in situations where they are having to, foul a shooter or foul a ball handler coming down the floor. I mean, just every single thing that you can possibly practice, you want to be able to look them in the eye and say, you've done this. Right. We've done this. But at the end of the day, you're still coaching 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, and they're going to make some mistakes along the way as well.
Hey, preparation. Along those lines, Tom, let me ask you, what's your philosophy about trying to draw a play in the huddle that kids have never seen? I don't even try. I don't even bother.
Well, we try to have done every single thing that we're going to do in a game. But if it does get to a point where we're going to, I like to try to, just kind of give them, okay, so here's something you have done, and we're going to just tweak it that way.
Right.
That's good.
So I'm always relating it back to, something that we've done. You think back to your state championship year, Tom, and we had to do this playing the semifinals on one night and then trying to prepare. You play the last game of the day on Friday, and then you turn around and have to play again on Saturday. Well, you don't have a lot of time to prepare with your kids.
Right.
So what we did was on that Saturday game is we compared every single one of those kids to somebody that we had played earlier in the year, because again we wanted to have that similarity there of something that we've already done. Hey, we're going to play this kid, the same way we played that kid from Martin, or the same way we played that kid from Mansfield Summit. And then, that way they had something to draw off of that was still something that we had done.
Well, and you made a great point. There's no reason that you should even expect a high school kid to do something that he hasn't done before, because I heard a great coaching line when I was a kid that someone said, every year you coach, you get a year older and a year smarter, and every year they're still 17.
Yep.
Right.
The kids aren't getting older, and but you have to get smarter.
And it's presumptuous for us to assume that because I know it, they know it, and they don't know it. They might not know it if you teach it to them 4 times.
You're getting the Tommy Brackle coaching clinic right here for free. This particular segment is no longer brought to you by Fast Mall Sports and Playbank, but now it's brought to you by the Cowtown Tip-Off Classic, November the 8th and 9th, right there in North Crowley High School. As we proceed on here, the shot clock.
The shot clock.
Yeah. First of all, you made history, Coach Brackle. You've made history with the games you won. We've got 2 minutes. We're gonna come back and do more shot clock. Well, let me give our listeners a deal. Coach Tommy Brackle, North Crowley High School head coach, 21-year head coach. is the first gym and the first event, the first preseason showcase event of official UIL basketball game to allow a shot clock to be used in UIL basketball in 2017, November 2017. Is that correct, Coach?
Alan, we're very proud of that, but I'm going to be even more proud of it in 5 years when we're doing it across the state.
That's where we're going now.
You know what's frustrating to me, Tommy, is like over at Grand Prairie, we always had a great AD, and you're your campus coordinator. You've got shot clocks on your rims already. We've got shot clocks, and I do understand some schools don't have as much money. I do understand smaller schools will struggle, but go back to my little Tommy ticking time Tom thing when I talked about they got money for a shot or a play clock in football. Come up with the money for a shot clock in basketball.
Is the challenge on the money the operator or the clock?
It can't be.
Well, I tell you what, as we get into this, I mean, it's a pretty in-depth conversation, but after you go to break, we can come back and I can tell you exactly what the UIL told me. There were several. But I've been talking with them for the better part of 3 years now. I've really been pushing for it. Now, a lot of the high school coaches in the state are kind of split. Yep. It's not as quite as one-sided as you would think, but the UIL has some pretty good reasons not to do it.
Okay, we're going to talk about that. Any other UIL high school coaches or coaches, period? Make sure you're a legit coach before you call in here. 713-392-1930 right here on the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. All things sports, all things Texas. This particular segment is brought to you by the Fort Worth, North Crowley Cowtown Tip-Off Classic, November the 8th through 9th, located right there in the southern Fort Worth area. Never understood as North Crowley, but it's South Fort Worth, but, go figure it out on the calendar. We're back in 180 seconds with more Tommy Bracco, 580 wins, my main man, Tom Inman, Lady Life, Uneven Money, and yours truly, Alan Branch. More of your Lone Star Sports Show. All things sports, all things Texas. Hey, here we are at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. Giving it to you like it is, all things sports, all things Texas. Today's show is brought to you by FastBallSports.com. This particular segment is brought to you by Hartem Hotels. Go take a look at Hartem Hotels. They're at HartemHotels.com. We've got a special guest on, Tommy Bracco. And we went to break sometimes our best shows, our intermission shows that never get aired. We used to do a little Facebook Periscope thing where we used to expose people to some of the things we were talking about. But the best thing, I was saying this to Coach Bracco, Tom, while you were away, going to the little boys' room there. Too much information.
Yeah, way too much. Thanks for sharing that, man.
That's what happens when the guys get older. That's what we got to do anything to raise the ratings. But the one thing that we're going to have to be successful at, if we're going to get this shot clock thing done, is that we're going to have to like a political strategy. We're going to have to get people to understand the value to the kids that are not collegiate prospects.
Well, see,
because that's the only fight.
Well, that was
Two things.
That was my point on the break when I was talking to Tommy, and I said, with me being retired and having time, I wouldn't mind lobbying on their behalf because I can make a very good intellectual argument for why we should do this. And hey, one of the questions I have for you, Tommy, what does a shot clock cost? How much does it cost for the physical clock?
$300 maybe for both of them, mounted, everything. It's not a great expense.
Okay, so you got 20 home games, and you pay the guy $40. That's $800 a year plus $300 to set up. So money's not an issue. They spend more than money on that than chalk in the football fields.
No, it's not about the money, and that idea has been thrown out there a little bit.
Okay,
it's going to cost. Go ahead.
No, I want to get it out because I'm trying to help the cause here. We all are proponents of it, so we got to help our cause. So we have to take advantage of it. Right now, we need to go out on social media. We have determined with the cost of a shot clock, with the operation and everything, money is not the problem. And anybody who wants to come in and talk about that, I mean, you just broke it down the numbers. I'm dealing with it in TCAL right now with the 10 schools, and based on ISD system and what's been.
Well, my question is, if it's not money, what is it? Because money's everything, and if it isn't money, why do anyone care? Why does anyone care?
Here's some of the things that the UIL has told me that have made some sense. Is that we talked about what I tried to push for, and how do we lobby this? If it's more than just, hey, we're preparing kids to go to college.
That one's not going to work. So go ahead.
Okay, I agree, but I also say that why would we not prepare every kid? I mean, I just got back from Texas Tech's practice the other day. I asked Coach Beard point blank after practice. We were in his office. We were watching video. I was watching the kid from Arlington Bowie that had went out to Vegas. Edwards. I was watching Edwards play. Yep, and he made a couple of shot clock errors. And in their practice, and I asked him, I said, do you guys see that from Texas kids? That they have a hard time adjusting. And every coach on that staff said, absolutely.
Every coach in the country. I got 100 Division I subscribers, and all of probably 65 or 70% of them have told me the same thing. Texas kids have a terrible time of understanding because they don't have that clock in their head.
Right. They don't know what late clock means. I was talking to Alan about that earlier, and I was saying that exact same point. I was saying because there've got to be coaches out there who say, I'm not taking a Texas kid. Like, I'm sure you've heard the conventional wisdom.
I'm
not taking a Cali kid because he's soft. I'm not taking a New York kid because he can't pass his classes or whatever. Texas kids are no shot clock kids. I'm
not going to be unfair about that. And I talk to Division I coaches every single day. Not a day goes by I don't talk to them. And there's no guys out there not taking Texas kids. They just know that Texas kids are going to struggle with that. So they're trying to come in. We have too much talent with a number one producer of Division I prospects. So our kids aren't missing out on scholarship opportunities, but they're missing out on situations.
But they're less prepared.
They're less prepared.
They're prepared, and it makes the college coach's job harder because that's another layer he's got to add to that kid that should have been added in high school.
Oh, there we go. I can't argue with that one. I cannot argue with that.
I agree with that. It does help get them prepared. It will help get them prepared quicker to be successful quicker. Right. And we even talked about, I really feel like that if we go to a shot clock in the state of Texas, it's going to elevate the coaching in the state as well.
That's a great point.
It's challenging to know how to defend with a shot clock or what kind of play you're going to have your guys do late into a shot clock versus the offense that you might run early in the shot clock.
What's your hot play? What's your 3-second play? Whatever.
Elaborate on
this.
Exactly.
What's your play behind the play? When everything else breaks down and that shot clock is winding down, are your kids going to be prepared?
What a lot of people do is like they'll get to 8 and they'll call hot or whatever. They'll use some sort of designation that, no, here's where we go scramble because we got to get a shot. So they've got to understand a late shot. And I know I've played against you too many times. I guarantee you that you know exactly how many seconds it takes to run 3 different plays, the 3 different situations. So if you needed a 2-second shot, a 3.5-second shot, and a 5.5-second shot, you know the difference, and so do I.
Only problem with that is the only place that has in Texas he has the opportunity to execute that is that he has 4 8-minute shot clocks.
No, but I'm saying I time it out just because I just want my kids to know what the hell they're doing.
You time it out because when you come down to the end of the quarter, the end of the half, end of the third quarter, or the end of the game, then that determines what you're going to apply.
But I'd like to have 20 of those situations a game, not 4.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody talks about. Now, one of the things we talk about, and what Tom was saying, Emma was saying here, is that it keeps guys from coaching or from recruiting our guys. And I'm saying right now, as a recruiting expert, no, it doesn't. It makes them struggle once they get there. But I will say this. I think that our level of play and our level of competition and our quality of basketball would be raised across the board, and we potentially, tell me if you other guys disagree on this, we would potentially, and listening to, we would potentially increase our number of Division I players.
Well, let me clarify. I wasn't trying to say the kids don't get recruited because of it, but what I'm saying is if all things are equal between some kid from Texas and some kid from somewhere else, and this kid gets the shot clock and you don't, it does make a difference. Not so much maybe who gets the scholarship, maybe who plays.
Well, it may because he may struggle longer,
right?
But I don't think don't recruit a kid because
that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to imply.
Matter of fact, I know if nothing else I'm right about on the show tonight. I know I'm right about that.
No, I'm not trying to say that that's the case. I just want to make sure I'm being clear about that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it can only make a player better. And how does it hurt anybody? Why is anybody hurt by having to think more on the basketball court?
Well, and before we get ready to go on this next sticky subject, we're not going to have enough time to do it. But we're going to talk about it a little bit. Where do you think we are? What do you think the chances are, based on your intimate interaction with the Rules Committee for the UIL and TABC and all the powers to be that would discuss and determine the outcome of this situation? Where are we on that? Do we have a chance?
I think we really do. I think, the very last year we were able to get it just in, I believe, 2 events. Us and Central Texas had an event a little bit later in that same weekend. And then this year they're allowing any event, tournament, whoever, to apply for it and be able to do it.
So all non-district players are allowed to do it this year.
All tournaments.
Yeah, you could. You just have to apply through the UIL, request it, and then they give you a series of things that they want done as far as stats and statting. When shots were taken in the shot clock. But guys, you're not going to see a great change in the game until you start changing it in district play and in postseason play.
Right.
And what I'm right, because that's what you're going to coach for.
Right.
You're coaching to win district games to get into the playoffs and for postseason games. So, just because we have a shot clock in the Cowtown tip-off, people aren't going to change what they do and the way they coach for one game.
No.
It's,
I remember Alan Gratz, one of our buddies, he was really, really against the shot clock. And that's one of my golf buddies. And like I say, Snoop Johnson is another close friend of mine, and he's against it. And we argue like cats and dogs all the time about it. But, at the end of the day, we're right. I mean, I know I'm supposed to say we're right because that's the side I'm on, but we're right. Let's go to another topic. We got roughly about 4 or 5 more minutes here. Why is the word recruiting, and I'm going to make a statement here, so just hear me all the way out. The question is not a literal question. Why is the word recruiting such a bad, felon, cheating, low-down, dirty word that's used when it's associated with high school basketball? A player was recruited. And what Alan Brent is going to in turn say is that I feel that Tommy's a parent, you're a parent, I'm a parent, the young people over there, they're kids, but they have parents. And every parent, in some form or fashion, makes an attempt to do what's in the best interest of their child, the majority of the time. Would everybody agree with that?
Yeah. I have no beef. I'm gonna make one simple statement and stay out of the middle of the politics.
We got here with Tommy.
Go ahead,
Tommy, would you agree with that?
No. I will, as a father, I will definitely agree with that as well.
Well, okay, so that's the foundation right there. So what a fine line comes down to is, and this is my last deal, and I'm just going to let y'all take it and run with it. The last deal comes down to is that due to the lack of education and the understanding of parents, they tend to chase waterfalls and pipe dreams and crazy stuff because of lack of education. So if I don't think we ever stop the pursuit of the best thing for kids, but can we do a better job of educating our parents? And I'll let y'all have the mic.
Well, the only thing I was going to say is that it's a delicate issue with both you and I, because we both lost players, and I'm not concerned about losing a player. My only feeling is this: if it's a parent who was doing the best thing for their kid, I have no problem, do it. But what really drives me crazy and really pisses me off are these third-party people who get involved. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, Tommy. There's one name in particular. I'll wait till we're off air. But you know that there are people who get involved in all this stuff. And that bothers me because they have an agenda. And their agenda is always them. It's never the kid. And that really pisses me off.
But how good of a job do we do of educating people about it? I agree with that. That's the deal. And we're not going to solve that tonight.
Right.
But I'd like to put good quality content and theories out there that may have the ability to educate some people. We're going to hear from Tommy Brackle on that in the last minute and 30 seconds of the deal. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, I mean, first let's just talk about, you asked why does the word recruiting in high school sports have such a negative connotation? And, first of all, the UIL uses it as, being illegal. So something that's illegal is, of course, is going to be negative.
Makes sense.
I totally agree with what Tom was saying. Now, as a parent, I don't feel like the UIL should be able to tell Tommy Brackle if he wants to take his son somewhere to play baseball, to play basketball, whatever, that I couldn't say that I was doing it for athletic purposes. I mean, who is the UIL or anybody else to tell me what should be best for my son and where I should prioritize things? But I should physically have to pick up and move, and actually live in that attendance zone. But then you start getting into what Coach Inman was talking about with these third-party guys. And, what's tough is when you pour so much into these kids and you try to be honest with them, you try to be honest with their parents, you try to, just continue to grow them while they're in your program, and then somebody sells them a pipe dream or somebody gets in their ear, tells mom or dad everything that they want to hear, and then all of a sudden they're gone. It's real easy to believe what you want to hear as opposed to believe reality and what you need to hear. And the coaches that truly care about their kids and truly care about building them into young men, young women that are going to be successful after they leave the walls of North Crowley High School or Plano High School or wherever you might be coaching at, man, they're going to tell those kids and tell those parents what they need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear. But far too often, they'll chase the dreams of what they want to hear.
And that's exactly right. And we'll put this content, I want to conclude this in 30 quick seconds. First of all, we want to thank head coach Tommy Brackle of North Crowley. We want everybody to get out on November the 8th and 9th to the Cowtown Tip-Off Classic, where it'll be quality basketball going on there. Here's my response. It's not necessarily an answer. My response to all of that is that if the quality basketball professionals would combine and not bicker among ourselves and combine to bring a more accountability to the truths that are being put out there, then some of these unqualified third parties and the guys with the pipe dreams and the agendas would be sought out a lot, be exposed a lot more. But because there's so much conflict and diversity, you can get 9 stories on 2 different corners, it's going to always be that way. But right now, we're going to keep on working at it. All things sports, all things Texas, right here on the Lone Star Sports Show, Lone Star Sports Network. Thanks to Tommy Brackle and the North Crowley School District of the great man in pursuit of 600 wins. We're going to be supporting him all the way till he retires. My main man, Tom Inman, Lady Life, Under Your Money, and yours truly, Alan Branch. We'll see you on the next one. This particular weekend, this particular Thursday, we will not return on the air. We'll be doing, we'll come back on next week and return back after that. No show this coming Thursday.